Hey everyone, welcome to the Coin Collector channel. Today I've got another obsolete coin from the US Mint. This is the half dime. Obviously we have nickels, which are 5 cents, and so is this coin. But before the nickels were put into production, we had the half dime. And these coins ran from 1794 to 1873. Now, that original production date of 1794 is disputed because even though the U.S. Mint technically did not start until 1793, you can find a half dime that has the date of 1792. And like I said, the U.S. Mint did not officially start until 1793. So, of course, the 1792 coins are very rare. And how that even happened is President Washington, George Washington, ordered these half dimes in 1792. He ordered them to be created, but by a man named John Harper. John Harper was actually a saw maker in Philadelphia, and it's interesting because the U.S. Mint building was still under construction, but President Washington wanted to, as he stated, a small beginning. So, with his own silver, supposedly his own stockpile of silver and even his silverware in his house, he got together with this man, John Harper, in the cellar of his saw making business, and he ordered him to produce around 1,500 of these 1792 half dimes. And it's worth knowing that in this year they were spelled D-I-S-M-E. We believe that it's still pronounced dime, but at the time there was an S in there. So that's really interesting to know that you can find a half dime, one of these coins right here, before the U.S. Mint was even created or done being created. Try to get some good images here. I do have one coin here in my collection that has been graded. I got it this way. I did not send it in to be graded. This is an 1855. Came back graded as good. Now moving on with some more information about the half dimes in general. So with the 1794 started the flowing hair edition of the coin, and this version ran from 1794 to 1795. After that came the draped bust, and that one was from 1796 to 1805. Now, the draped bust itself actually had two versions within those years. Like I said, the draped bust is from 1796 to 1805, but during those years, there was two changes. First, it was the small eagle on the reverse of the coin. That ran from 1796 to 1797, and then they changed it to the heraldic eagle, which is from 1800 to 1805. That was all within the draped bust era. Then after the draped bust came the capped bust. That ran from 1829 to 1837. Then the last edition is what you see here. This is called the Liberty Seated, or Seated Liberty, half dime. And of course, there are a lot of coins that have the Liberty Seated name tag in front of them. It's a whole era of coins. The Liberty Seated went from 1837 to 1873. So with that long span of time, there were many changes to this specific version of the coin. The first version of the Liberty seated coins had no stars on the front. As you can see, both of the editions that I have here do have stars, and the first version did not. That version went from 1837 to 1838. Then the second version, which is what I have in my hand here, had stars on the front, obviously, but no other changes. And then the third version, which I have here as well, had the same stars, but it had arrows on the front around the date, which is very common for coins around this time. So that made it the third version. As you can see, the second version here does not have the arrows. That version with the arrows, the third version, went from 1853 to 1855. Then what's interesting, they went back to the second version. So they went back to the no arrows. Again, they went back to version 2 in 1856 to 1859. And then their fourth and final version actually did not have stars on the front, but had United States of America where the stars are. It just said United States of America. That went from 1860 to 1873. Now moving on to coin-specific information. We'll start here with the 1852 O mint, which is New Orleans. So this year, there was 260,000 minted in New Orleans, and there was 1 million minted in Philadelphia. Of course, with Philadelphia not having a mint mark. This coin is 90% silver and 10% copper. You can see the New Orleans O underneath the word dime. This coin was designed by Christian Gobrecht. And this coin, in terms of value, if it is a good value, it's around $45, this specific one with the O mint mark. And if it is brilliantly uncirculated, it can be about $2,000 to $3,000. Now, the record auction price for this year and mint mark coin was $17,000. Now, events of this year include the Bridge Gulch Massacre in California, where 150 Wintu people, Native Americans, were killed by a posse of 70 men led by Sheriff William Dixon in Trinity County, California. Another important history event of that date, the first intercollegiate athletic event took place. This was a boat race between Yale and Harvard. That's all the information that I could come up with that was new for this year, because I have covered that year in a previous video, and I will put that on the screen now if you want to get some more historic information for that year. So who could have carried this? Henry Clay is the Kentucky senator during this time. He was very famous during this time, and seeing that I'm in Kentucky, I thought, it's possible that this exact coin was in his pocket, and it just stayed in Kentucky this whole time, and that's how it ended up in my hands. Moving on to the other coin I have for you today. This is an 1855. This is the third version of the coin. This is a Philadelphia mint. And there was 1.7 million minted in Philadelphia this year of this coin. And You could also find a New Orleans mint, and if you do, that is a 600,000 mint number. This coin is also 90% silver and 10% copper. This was also designed by Christian Gorbech, but he also had help from Robert Hughes. This coin, in a good condition, which is what this one is worth around $30, but in brilliantly uncirculated, this coin is worth around $7,000. So the record sale for this coin in this year was $44,000. So worth a lot more than 5 cents. But moving on to the events of this year, we have the first bridge over the Mississippi River was created and opened. Michigan State University opens. Pennsylvania State University opens as well. This is interesting. I had never heard of this, but the U.S. Camel Corps was created. This was a U.S. military experiment using camels as pack animals for military service in the Southwest USA. It was not successful, obviously. We don't use camels here in America for the military, but we tried. Also, Mount Sinai Hospital was opened in New York. And another massacre, this is called Bloody Monday, and it took place here in Kentucky, in Louisville, Kentucky. A Protestant mob attacked an Irish and German Catholic group during a protest on the election day. It resulted in 22 deaths. I had never heard of that, so this is one reason why I love these coins, is I get to find out more about history and collect a piece of that time. So who could have carried this coin? John Moses Browning was actually born in 1855, so it wouldn't be too far of a stretch to think that maybe his parents could have used this exact coin to buy something for John Moses Browning that year. And also Mary Walker, she was the first female military surgeon during the American Civil War. She could have carried this coin. She could have given it to a injured Civil War soldier. This also could have been carried by Franklin Pierce, which was the 14th president during this time. And what I like about these two coins are, first of all, how many versions of the coin that there are. I really, really enjoy knowing that there are so many different ones that you could collect. I also like the fact that it's called a half dime, even though it's 5 cents. And on top of all that, I think the thing that I like most about this coin is definitely the story about George Washington having the first of these half dimes created in a sawmaker's basement with his own silver, just to, like he said, create a small beginning for the American mint. I think that's an incredible story, and I'm happy that I can own a piece of that. If you guys like this content, or if you found some new information that you didn't know before watching, I hope that you'll leave me a like and possibly subscribe, and stick around for some more coins. I think I only have one more coin to get through until the Obsolete series is complete, so be on the lookout for that. Thank you guys.